I hate the ridiculous, immature, and pompous ego that Florentino Perez has and has brought that culture to the Real Madrid staff as a whole. And don't get me wrong, I understand that sometimes you need to have an ego like that in order to win in the fashion that a club like Real Madrid has. But I also think that it is that ego that has caused them to suffer so much in these past few years with a team that should be top of the world. Diomandé has just signed for Real Madrid for a fee of over 100 million euros. I do not believe that the exact amount has been disclosed as of yet, but this news came out about half a day ago when I'm filming this video, and I had to take a little bit to think about it because, on the one hand, I do think that Yan Diomande is a brilliant player, and when you look at all of the people who are going for or who are being rumored to go for prices at or above £100 million. When you look at Morgan Rogers, um, when you look at Elliot Anderson, when you look at those signings, when you look at the rumors behind players like Bradley Barcola, I think buying Yan Diamante for €100 million is a great deal in that sense. And I do think that he is a wonderful, wonderful player. But for Real Madrid, it is clear that it is not what they need. Yan Diomande is a brilliant player, but he is the exact same type of player that Vinicius Jr., that Kylian Mbappe, that maybe Rodrigo could have been if he had been able to continue on the path that we thought he should have. And what I mean by that is that all of these players are players that do the best when they are the center of their team. We've seen it for Mbappe performing for the France team. We've seen it for Vinicius doing it for Brazil. Uh, Jan Diomande last year at RB Leipzig was brilliant because he was the focal point of that offense. I think for a team like Real Madrid, if he is to go there and play, uh, whether it's on the right hand side or on the left, if we'll get into it a little bit, the possibilities for a player like Vinicius Jr., um, he's going to really only be worth that £100 million price tag that he has garnered, and rightfully so garnered, uh, if he is able to get the ball at his feet in good positions, get the opportunity to create a great amount, and that just isn't realistic with the way that this Real Madrid team is looking right now. You cannot feed the mouths of Vinicius, Mbappe, and Yan Diomande at the same time, and it is, I believe, the fault of the minds behind these signings. Florentino Perez, the president, who seems to, get off by just having these big name players, these expensive players, come to his team, makes him think that, oh, my team is the best in the world. We have the best pull, and it's true. But who knows how much longer that's going to be the case if things are continuing in the way that they are, if Barcelona are dominating in the way that they are in La Liga. um I don't know. And when I look at the kind of player this Real Madrid team really needs, it is these supporting attacking players. We saw it with Elise at the World Cup. Maybe it didn't pan out in the final semi-final for France, but overall, that sort of player who's, willing to take that step back and let someone else on their team be the finisher, be the main guy, that is what a team like Real Madrid need. And that is not what a player like Yan Diamande necessarily brings. Now, maybe you're sitting here and saying, well, they got Yan Diamande because Vinicius Jr., Real Madrid believes is going to go to Arsenal. Now, I have two thoughts on that. The first of which is, if he does go to Arsenal, I think that's actually a brilliant signing for them. Um, I think that they could really use that superstar like player up front. I know Arsenal fans will say that Saka is a superstar player, but he hasn't necessarily shown it in the past few seasons. Um, he's had a pretty tough run with injuries and whatnot as well, and he's obviously a brilliant player, but not really the superstar level talent that usually you would see from a team that wants to be the best in the world. So for Arsenal, if they can get Vinicius Jr. and if this is the reason behind this Jan Diomandé signing, then phenomenal for them. However, I don't think that this signing means that Vinicius Jr. is necessarily going to leave Real Madrid. Now, if Arsenal are willing to pay the premium that Real Madrid want, which I imagine would probably be over 180 million euros, or pounds, or whatever currency, uh, they probably would let him go. And then maybe on Diomande would be that replacement on the left. But he is a player that is fully capable of playing on that right wing as well. And I think that Real Madrid would be perfectly satisfied playing with Vinicius Jr., Mbappe, and Yan Diomande as that front three. Now, earlier I said that I had two thoughts on the potential of him as a replacement for Vinicius Jr. And the other thought is, even if Vinicius does go, Yan Diomande is obviously not the same player as Vinicius, but has that same creative force in him, and is as relative you're going to get for these superstar level players who are all very unique in their own way, a pretty similar replacement. And we've already seen how this Vinicius Jr. and Mbappe dynamic just doesn't really work. You can't. They've got two mouths to feed up front in an offense where we've seen that it just makes the most sense to feed one. And so Yan Diomande perhaps will replace Vinicius, and I mean maybe he will be able to do take this supporting role for Mbappe, but I don't think that's the case. And at the I don't know if you would consider this worst or best case scenario in which Vinicius stays, and they do have that attack of Diamande, Mbappe, Vinicius. Now you've got three mouths to feed, and I just don't see how that's going to be much better. I mean, possibly, and this I don't wouldn't consider this. I wouldn't bet on this by any means, but possibly they're betting on a player like Rodri, who is looking likely to come to Real Madrid, um, to be that focal point that Tony Cruz was for them a couple of years ago when they won that Champions League, and like he was for many years before that. It's also looking at a player like Rodri and the fullbacks who are going to be very supportive of these attacking players, and saying, you know what, that's going to be enough to get our players enough opportunities to feed all of the mouths that we're going to have in this offense. But again, I just don't think that that is the sort of thing that you bet on, um, because these players who they're counting on are, at the end of the day, more defensive or possessive minded players. With the new signings, Kukre and Dumfries, Rodri, who's going to be playing at a sixth position, you can't count on that. And so you're going to be seeing, in my opinion, this front three of three just absolute alpha attackers. It's a 1A, 1B, 1C sort of attack that's just not ever been proven to work in any situation. I think we saw it with Mbappe at PSG a couple years back when they had Neymar, Mbappe, Messi. This sort of star power, when you have all these mouths to feed, just does not work. And because of that, I hate the way that Florentino Perez seems to just love, love the idea of having all these stars without actually caring for, how this Real Madrid team is going to play. Diomandé is a brilliant player, and I hope that he really is able to become a focal point in this Real Madrid offense and do very very good things. But I don't know if that's going to be the case. I don't know if this really changes anything for this Real Madrid team. But at the end of the day, only time will tell. These are just my opinions on these things. If you enjoyed listening to this video, consider leaving a like and subscribing. And if you disagree or just have a general opinion on this topic, please drop a comment below, and I'll let you know what I think about it. Peace.